My name is Patrick Owen. I have a PhD in nutrition. I'm a lecturer at McGill University. And the reason I got into ancestral health has to do with my fieldwork that I did in Tibet, in the highlands of Tibet. What I was looking at was a dietary paradox. You see, the Tibetan Highlanders eat very little fruits and vegetables. In fact, very little plant matter. They eat a lot of butter, salt, dairy, yogurt, and cheese, and yet their incidence and prevalence of cardiovascular disease and obesity is very low. And I called it the Tibetan paradox. And when I gathered all my data and I came back to hit the books and to research how I could explain the paradox, genetics didn't make sense. And really, years after looking at this, I would, any dietitian or doctor would say this is a heart attack waiting to happen. But in fact, it is not a paradox. This was more than a decade ago. Today, we know that the ketogenic diet is popular, high-fat, low-carb diets are popular, and I espouse that because it's part of our ancestry, everybody. And what is functional nutrition? Well, functional nutrition really is looking at the whole. It's not looking at specific symptoms, but looking at your lifestyle, diet, exercise activity, outdoor exposure, everything, and trying to figure out how to heal you, not by looking at the symptom, but by looking at what's the underlying method. Protein and fat are available all year round because they come from animals and fish. Carbs are the only seasonally available nutrient that we have. Carbs is during the growing season. Carbs basically tell us this is the season of eating. And what does eating carbs do? Too many carbs? It makes us fat. And we have to think of fat as a survival tissue. So it doesn't really matter about calories. Calories do count, but you have to think about survival tissue. So even if my diet's on point and I'm working out regularly, if I'm not sleeping well or I'm stressed, my body's in survival mode, and you can guarantee that I will not be burning fat or, at worst, gaining fat despite all my best efforts. We should be eating a lot less carbs. And the reason why a lot of us have this increased appetite, and let's face it, for carbs, is because it's nature's way of saying winter is coming, now or never, I need you to seek. The seeking behavior is caused by dopamine hormone. I need you to seek carbs and eat as much as possible in order to fatten you up, in order to increase our chances of survival for the coming winter, which traditionally has always been a season of lower food availability. But the seeking behavior, that's what I focus on. What makes you seek carbs so that it becomes actually an addiction? In fact, a lot of people have food addiction and carb addictions, and I deal with that. But you have to realize that it's so much more complex than that. Nutritionally, I always espouse a low carb, high-fat diet. A ketogenic diet is very, very helpful for those who have an addiction, and I use it regularly. But it's not long-term. I think it's cyclical. And this is one of the main limitations of modern nutritional research. We do not take into account cyclical needs. We have one dietary food guide for every day, no matter the temperature, no matter the day length. And this doesn't work. It is not in line with our evolutionary past. So that's exactly what ancestral health and functional nutrition is all about. So I spoke about sleep briefly. I spoke about nutrition briefly. And what about exercise? I still am a personal trainer, and people think that I need to hit the gym, I need to hit the gym, I need to hit the gym. Believe it or not, that's awesome, but it's not the best way to lose fat. In fact, it could actually make you fat, depending on other things that are going on in your life. Here's the typical thing I see. People are sedentary. As soon as they wake up, they go to their office job, and then 3 days a week, maybe 4, they hit the gym for 1 hour. It could be anything, weightlifting, CrossFit, spinning, whatever the case is. But 1 hour out of 24 hours of the day, 3 days a week, what does your brain think is happening for that 1 hour? You're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. It's stressful. What the hell is going on? So what happens is that, yes, congratulations, you're a little bit stronger, your cardiovascular health is a little bit better, but your fat, yeah, your treadmill says that you burned 200 calories worth of fat, congratulations. But that hole is going to be plugged up right away during your next meal. And if you're not sleeping well and if you're stressed, it's going to be plugged up even more and more and more. That's what we see. People come to me all the time, I need to lose weight, I'd love to have a nutrition plan, and I send them away with a sleeping plan. number one thing. So what's the best exercise for fat loss? Low intensity frequency, just like our ancestors. The gym? Your grandmothers never hit the gym a day in their lives. Yet obesity wasn't a big problem. And that's exactly what the human body was meant to do. Just chip away at that fat by moving frequently throughout the day. But the takeaway is that if we follow nature's cues, we become more aligned between our genetics and our environment. And our environment has everything to do with how we feel, how we think, and how we act. Thank you very much.